Hello, I am Xarkun. This is World of Warships Legends. Today I've got a video for you in the Tier 5 British destroyer Icarus. We're on Shards, Domination Mode game, and keeping in line with the most recent videos that I've been putting out, I want to talk a little bit about general destroyer strategy tips, but general destroyer strategy tips as they relate to the British destroyers, they have a few things about them that make them unique in comparison with the other nations' destroyers in this game. And the Icarus at Tier 5 here, I think gives you a pretty decent preview of what you can expect for the rest of the line. It's the first ship in the British destroyer line which is capable of firing its torpedoes from stealth, and that fact there alone makes it a little bit easier to use, I guess, than the lower tier ones, and gives you an idea of what you're going to expect when you get to the Jervis and then finally the Lightning. Although I don't actually have the Lightning yet. I'm maybe half, 75% of the way through grinding the Jervis. Although I've seen enough videos, I have an idea of what it plays like. And the Jervis, pretty strong ship. Anyway, we notice a T-61 here, Tier 5 Premium German destroyer, who is spotted and sees us and was not firing his guns. Why? Because he was launching torpedoes. So, we're off to a cracking start now, as they say. But here's a tip for the destroyer captains out there. If you're in a destroyer and you spot an enemy destroyer, you're both spotted by each other, you can't disengage, get unspotted, well, use your guns. Don't try to torpedo that enemy destroyer. You try to torpedo them, you're not shooting your guns, you're not doing damage to them. Meanwhile, they're shooting at you, they are doing damage to you, and the fact that you're not shooting at them is a good indication that you're trying to lay down torpedoes, which means you come up against an experienced destroyer player and you don't shoot at him. He knows that you're launching torpedoes at him, makes it easier to avoid. Plus, these British destroyers have, as you can see, sonar. Pretty long duration sonar too. I think it goes for about 2 minutes, which I think is a little bit longer than your typical sonar. So you can see torpedoes coming from further out. You do, of course, have the very short duration smoke screen. I think this one lasts for 40 seconds or so. So you can't really sit inside of it and farm damage with your guns the way you could in, say, an American destroyer. These British destroyers, their smokes are more useful for quick hit-and-run attacks, or for disengaging from enemy ships. They can also single-fire their torpedoes, which is not something that any other class or any other nation's destroyers can do in this game. That makes their torpedoes both easier and more difficult to use at the same time. You see, we're firing at that New Mexico with those 2 salvos, but he was maneuvering quite a bit. He did not want to take those torpedoes, and he was able to avoid all of them. If you are using the single fire function and you're not sort of creating your own spread, which you can and probably should practice doing if you plan to play this line of destroyers, you send them all in one place, and the ship you're aiming at misses one torpedo, they're probably going to miss them all. Nevertheless, we did hit that Queen Elizabeth. We do notice, though, that the New Mexico is not pointing his guns at us. He is sailing toward the friendly battleship out there. So we're able to sit back here and rain down some fire on him with more or less complete impunity. Nobody has shots on us. That Queen Elizabeth is behind the island out there, so he can't shoot us. Maybe those battleships out far over there could possibly have a shot on us, but they're not paying any kind of attention. So we're able to lay down some pretty effective fire on the New Mexico. Looks like we did start a fire on him. And now we're coming around. We see that the Queen Elizabeth is on pretty low health. And we figure we should be able to finish this particular ship off with our guns. We're also firing into the cap circle, which we did secure. The Queen Elizabeth is in the process of trying to flip it, but we're resetting the capture progress there, and those green ribbons that we get for doing that, we're going to end up with a lot of them by the end of this game. From what I can tell, these are possibly the most valuable things that you can get in terms of XP and credit earnings. You're going to see just how they affect our score here at the end of our game. But we noticed the Queen Elizabeth quit shooting at us. We were starting to take fire from a different direction, so we deploy the smoke, disengage, and return from another sort of angle to continue firing at the Queen Elizabeth. Doesn't look like it's totally necessary. The fire eventually takes him down. So that's 2 kills, 79,000 damage done. We've capped 1 point. The Bravo cap is also secured. We've got 2 friendly ships up near Charlie. We're hoping that one of them is going to sail on to Charlie and take it. Always a good idea, if you are able to capture 3 capture points, especially since the enemy team is ahead of us on points. Now, we see the battleship out there, and we notice that there is a Budioni and what looks like maybe another cruiser out there, so we don't really want to get closer to those cruisers. Of course, the cruiser is the counter to the destroyer, and we are far better equipped to take out battleships. Now I am pinging the Charlie cap. Notice there is a friendly destroyer over in the proximity of that capture circle who looks like he was trying to chase the Ismail. Not a good idea if you're in a destroyer to chase a battleship who's sailing away from you. The fact that they're sailing away from you makes it very unlikely that you're going to get a torpedo hit on them. And as I always say, much better to go after a capture circle than it is to go after a battleship. The only reason I'm really going after this guy at all is because he sort of stands between me and the Charlie capture circle. So I would really need to take him out before I could get there and start capping it for my team. Now, I did launch one of the torpedo launchers in his direction. Kind of created my own spread there. Unfortunately, it looks like all of those torpedoes are going to miss. He did move out of the way, and he is engaged with the friendly, I think it's a Leander over there in Bravo. Sailing now in a straight line. I think he probably thinks, since he avoided all the torpedoes, no more are coming. The Budioni catches sight of me, and so does the other cruiser out there. Both of them start to shoot, so I deploy one of my smoke screens. Still being spotted because unfortunately I haven't slowed down enough and I've sailed straight out of it. So the Budioni does get to shoot again. Torpedoes do take down the Ismail. 3 kills now, 96,000 damage done. The Budioni is in the Bravo cap now, trying to flip it. We want to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. Looks like our team is probably going to secure Charlie, and that's going to put us into a relatively decent position to win here. But, you know, we don't want to get too close to these cruisers. If we do, we're probably gonna die. And we notice that there is a Belfast out there. Belfast, of course, is equipped with radar, so we definitely don't want to get too close to him. What we do want to do right now is spot these 2 cruisers for the friendly battleship, who is shooting at the Budioni, is hitting him, and is doing damage. That's pretty much the best thing we can do for a team here right now, is spot these cruisers and hope the battleship shoots at them. We can also launch some torpedoes and hope that the Budioni sails in such a way that he will take them. you can see that we're creating our own spread here. I find that most of the time on these British destroyers you want to use that function to create your own spread. Usually it is beneficial. Now we do deploy a smoke here. We're shooting at the Budioni. First set of torpedoes, they catch him and take him down for our 4th kill. Now the Belfast out there. He is going to be a little bit of a problem. So far, we're ahead on points now, 551 to 357. The ball is in their court right now, and unfortunately, they're busy flipping 2 caps. We can't really allow that to happen if we want to win. We are going to have to kill these guys. Now, unfortunately, the friendly battleship is in a position where he's not really going to be able to shoot that Belfast. And the Belfast does take out the friendly Fubuki, leaving just the 2 of us, myself and the battleship, to take care of this Budioni and this Belfast. And I'm trying to get around the corner here to spot the Belfast. Unfortunately, I don't know, looking back on it, if I wasn't paying attention to how close his last known position was, but it was close enough for him to spot me visually, which is a mistake on my part. And then he deploys his radar, so my smoke is useless, and I'm going to be lit up by this Belfast for the benefit of this Budioni and, the Belfast itself to shoot at me. Again, the friendly battleship isn't really in a position where he can support me, so this mistake here is going to end up costing me my life and, basically costing me the game. No guarantee that I actually would have won, even if I had stayed alive, but I would have provided a significant advantage to that battleship should he ever get in position to shoot these 2 cruisers. I don't think he actually is going to get in a position to do that, but if he was, maybe we wouldn't even know because I was dead. Had I been alive, I could have spotted those guys visually for him in order to allow him to shoot at them. As it stands, though, they have done exactly the right thing. They've flipped the Alpha and Bravo caps, and they are going to sail away from the friendly New Mexico here so that they are in no danger of being sunk by him, and that is what's going to win them the game. So the moral of the story here is, you need to pay attention to your mini-map. That blue circle around your ship designates your spotting range. If an enemy ship is inside that blue circle, then they're going to see you. Now, we couldn't see that Belfast initially, but we saw his last known location on the map, and it was dangerously close to that blue circle. So that should have been a clue for me to turn the other way and try to put some distance between the last known location of the Belfast and also my detectability range. Now, there's pretty good chance that as soon as I spotted him and he was alerted that, he was being detected, he would have popped that radar and we might have still been in range. But hopefully we would have been further away and we could have possibly outrun that. You got to be careful with the radar cruisers quite a bit in these British destroyers. You don't want to be too close to them at all. British destroyers aren't very fast by destroyer standards, and they don't come with speed boosts. So if you need to get away, you just got to rely on the base speed of the ship. You can't increase it with a consumable. Anyway, I don't know how illustrative that was about the tactics of British destroyer play. Basically, nice little hit-and-run destroyers that can smoke up quickly and also use that smoke to disengage quickly. I like them quite a bit, and even though this game wasn't a victory for me or my team, I do feel like it was a pretty good game on my part, exempting the mistake at the end that cost me my life and cost us the game, but, you know, got to be able to look back at your mistakes and try to learn from them, and hopefully you guys seeing that mistake of mine, maybe that'll benefit you in some way. At least that is, you know, my intention here with this video. Anyway, the battle is going to end. Take a look at the scoreboard when you see it. I think we got like over 2,000 base XP on a loss, which is pretty excellent. Anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.